Here's something that might give you permission to exhale a little bit. When it comes to brain retraining and nervous system regulation, if you're feeling sometimes a bit confused about how to go about it, or like you're hearing conflicting things or different things from different people that make you unsure if you're doing this like the right way, know that not a single person on the planet has this all figured out yet. Nobody understands the full picture of how the brain and the nervous system work and what the best way to go about reversing chronic symptoms is by using strategies that address these two components of our body. I have the amazing opportunity to interview tons of experts here on my channel, and I've personally heard hundreds of recovery stories. And although everybody has a piece of the puzzle, I've yet to see anyone or any space that is capturing everything. These are all amazing people, leaders in the field, doing incredible work, changing lives, and people are recovering. But not everybody agrees on what is the exact right approach that we should be going about this. So, right now, what I'm going to do with you is share with you my somewhat unique vantage point for all of this. Because I get the ability to take all of this in from all these different sources, in addition to reading and listening to everything I can get my hands on the topic. And I'm going to walk you through what I'm seeing as some of the holes in what we're presenting out there for people in the recovery space and where that overlap is. Like, what do virtually all of the experts seem to agree upon? And how this is helpful, hopefully helpful for you, is that if there are things that you're hearing or learning in the recovery space that don't really resonate for you and you're thinking, I'm forcing this a bit. This doesn't feel like a good fit. I don't think this is what I need. If that falls into the space of the things that not everybody agrees upon, then you know that you can probably pretty safely just leave that on the side and say that's not for me. And then by seeing the things that virtually everyone does agree upon, specifically 5 things that virtually everyone seems to be doing and getting incredible results with, then you have a better idea of like, okay, maybe this is something I should give a shot because it looks likely to help me on my recovery journey. But before we dive in, a big thank you to Get Healthy UTV for sponsoring this video and helping me consistently bring you quality content at no cost to you. Get Healthy UTV is a safe, supportive, and affordable way to add more movement into your life, something we know is important when it comes to supporting your health. So, whether it's gentle morning stretches or some mindful movement in the evening, finding ways to stay active can make a big difference. So, that's why I'm excited to share this resource with you. If you're looking for motivating at home workouts, Get Healthy UTV has an amazing library of classes, everything from gentle movement, cardio, strength, yoga, bar, walking, hit, dance, kettlebell, and more. And I love that the workouts are led by certified trainers who know how to keep you moving while making it fun and doable for every fitness level. I've tried the 10-minute daily 50 challenge and the beginner calendar program, and I always finish feeling stronger and more energized. Plus, new workouts are added all the time, so there's always something fresh there to try. And one of my favorite things is the sense of community. So members can join live Q&A sessions with trainers, get helpful advice, and connect with others working towards their wellness goals. And here's the best part. The first 1,000 people to join using the link in my description will get a full year of premium membership to Get Healthy UTV for just $1.49. That's hundreds of workouts for less than the price of a cup of coffee. So what have you got to lose? This offer is for new members only, so don't miss it. Check out the link below to join today. Okay, are you ready? This is dozens of videos and interviews, all condensed, all into one. Just get it all in one place. And to highlight exactly where those gaps are, where the overlap is, in the disagreement is in the recovery space, we're going to walk through someone's recovery journey. So let's take someone, I'll call her Petra. She gets all of a sudden all these bizarre symptoms she's never had before. They're not going away. She goes through the usual journey that so many of us, virtually all of us, go through, and eventually finds herself with a diagnosis of CSS, chronic symptom syndrome. And now, if you've never heard of this, that's because I made it up. And the reason I did that, it's a term that I've now started using to refer to a whole host of conditions. When I interview people, quite often, by the time they get to the place when they recover, they've accumulated a laundry list of diagnoses, most of them ending in the word syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome, and so forth and so forth. And what the experts are seeing and what I'm seeing in the recovery interviews that I do is that for the overwhelming majority of people, focusing on that diagnosis, specific label that they have attached or someone has attached to them for their symptoms, not so important. Chronic symptom syndrome, CSS. So, Petra has CSS and she learns after she's ruled out any sort of structural abnormalities or pathologies in the body. And she's feeling fairly confident that brain retraining and nervous system regulation is her path out of this. She's like, great. I know what I have. I know what I need to do about it. So she goes out into this space. And now she has access for whatever reason to the leading experts in the field. So she starts going to see them. And she starts with the amazing Nicole Sachs, who I've interviewed here on this channel. She is wonderful and has been helping people get past chronic symptoms for a very long time. Incredible work. And her focus is a lot about, what are we carrying inside that emotional reservoir that she calls that beaker that's overflowing inside of us of things that we've been shoving down and not been dealing with. And she's going to teach you how to journal and use her signature tool of journal speak. And that's going to be your path out of this. So Petra's like, okay, but I just want to make sure that I'm fully understanding this. So then she goes to see Dr. Howard Schubiner. Oh my goodness. Just one of my idols. Yeah. One of many people's idols doing incredible work. And he focuses a lot on the science of symptoms and focusing on the fear around symptoms and activities. So now she's shifting her focus that way. And then she goes to see Alan Gordon, and another amazing person in the space, written incredible books. He runs the Pain Psychology Center in Los Angeles. He's one of the creators of pain reprocessing therapy. He's doing scientific research on this. And he really talks about how these symptoms are a mistake. It's a communication breakdown happening between your body and your brain. It's a false alarm. The symptoms don't mean anything. You just need to rewire that alarm. And she's like, oh, okay. Petra thinks, okay, so I still don't fully understand this. So then she goes to see Dr. David Mickel, one of my favorite people on the planet, doing Mickel therapy for decades now, also changed thousands of lives. But he says very much every symptom has a reason. It is a message. And these symptoms are linked quite often to specific things in your life, emotions that you need to deal with. It could be anger, it could be boredom, a lack of fulfillment, but every symptom has a message. Listen to them closely and what it's trying to tell you. So from there, Petra keeps going. She comes across some other experts like Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, who also believes that symptoms are never a mistake, but that they really have little or nothing to do with our emotions. It's more about thinking of our brain like a computer or like AI. It's got this database of information going all the way back to birth, and it is not reacting to things in your environment. It is predicting. It is always trying to see what's coming next. It's scanning the environment. It's drawing on all of that information and then trying to predict what's going to happen next so it can be ready. And getting past these chronic symptoms is about breaking the connection that your brain has because it always goes to the worst case scenario in all of that data that it has available. And it's trying to keep you alive. So you are trying to build new connections to new data. It's like when you're using Chat GPT, and sometimes it's really great. And sometimes you have to keep having this dialogue like, no, again, you're getting it wrong. You're using the wrong data. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm asking for. Draw on this, this, and this to decide what you're going to generate next. So Petra's thinking, that's intriguing. And that makes a lot of sense. But I can't go on this recovery journey without it also seeing The late and great Dr. John Sarno, no longer around. So maybe she's watching some videos, reading some books, and he's like, no, 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 this is all about repressed emotions, specifically almost always rage. You have got rage that you are not dealing with. Like, get at your rage. And virtually everyone is talking about Petra is relieved that, okay, one thing they seem to agree on is that you need to understand the science. You need to understand how and why symptoms are created, the difference between acute and chronic, and then how we turn those chronic symptoms off. But then Petra comes across my channel and she hears my recovery story. And I recovered, I now clearly see through brain retraining and nervous system regulation, but I didn't even know those two terms at the time. I knew zero of the science, nothing. I was just feeling my way through it and doing things that made sense and using the data that I had available about what things seemed to help me. And that's how I worked through. So didn't need to learn a thing. Didn't need to know the science. And then she sees another interview, like one I recently did with a mother with a 7-year-old daughter that got severe CFS for 2 years, couldn't get out of bed. Happy childhood, happy girl, no trauma. She just got a virus and then it just never went away. And then she did the lightning process, a 3-day seminar, and within 8 weeks was back in school full time and has not looked back since. Didn't need to journal, didn't need to look at her rage, and she's doing great. So Petra is very lucky to have access to this lineup of rock stars, of these leaders in our field that are doing incredible work. But understandably, she's feeling a little bit confused. So you might not have access, direct access to all of these incredible leaders in our space, like Petra did, but you have access through videos, through books, and so forth. And so, understandably, like Petra, if you're feeling confused about how you're supposed to go about this and what's going on for you, it is understandable because we are putting some confusing and conflicting, contradictory information out there. And it goes broader than this. We see this in mainstream medicine and other areas of alternative medicine. If you go see an acupuncturist, they're going to tell you that what you need is acupuncture. If you go see a conventional medical doctor, they're likely going to prescribe you some sort of medication. If you see a functional doctor, probably going to do a lot of tests and, advocate a lot of supplements and so forth. If you see a surgeon, they're going to want you to get surgery. We're all a bit guilty of this. It's a bit of that when the only tool you have is a hammer, all that you see is a nail. Is your head spinning a little bit? I know that was a lot. Let's just pause for a second, take a breath. Feeling better? Let me tell you what I see. Despite there's still being some disagreement out there among the experts about exactly what is happening with the brain and nervous system, and specifically what we need to do to reverse chronic symptoms. Despite all of the gray that is out there, for sure, none of us have figured it all out. There are specific areas that hold up. So, what I'm going to do right now is walk you through the 5 things that virtually everybody seems to agree upon and emphasizes are important for understanding to get past your chronic symptoms and put those behind you. The first is that a threat assessment of some sort caused your chronic symptom syndrome, your CSS. Your brain and your nervous system detected, either correctly or incorrectly, some sort of threat in your external or internal environment. A car accident, a virus, exposure to mold, scary emotions that you're repressing, whatever it is, a threat assessment kicked this off for you. And if you still have chronic symptoms, then 100% your brain and nervous system still think there is some sort of threat. The second thing that virtually everyone agrees upon is that physical interventions are almost never the answer. Almost never what you need to get past this. It's not a medication or a supplement or a surgery or some sort of physical thing that someone else does to you that's going to stop your symptoms. Chronic symptoms in general are almost always neuroplastic in nature, meaning that it is directly tied to the wiring, the pathways in your brain, as opposed to something structural in your body. When you have done all the tests and all the stuff has been ruled out, despite the normal abnormalities, because every human alive, if you scan them head to toe, you're going to find things that are off. I've heard it described like the internal gray hair, like just things in your body. You accumulate latent viruses, you're going to have some things going on, some bulging discs in your back. And it is almost never the cause of chronic symptoms because acute symptoms and chronic symptoms are two very different things, even though they feel exactly the same. Through research, the experts have shown that there is virtually no correlation to when it comes to chronic symptoms, not acute, but chronic symptoms, to the level of structural damage and the amount of pain and symptoms that you're having. People can have all sorts of things showing up in scans and have no symptoms, and other people's scans are coming up relatively fine, and yet they are in a world of pain and 19 different symptoms that have them laid out. The third thing is that changing how you respond to your symptoms and also to activity and things in your environment is vital. You need to change your relationship with the symptoms that you're having and the things in your life that you have understandably become afraid of because they seem to always make you feel worse. It is important to trust that you are okay, that your body is actually fine. And the symptoms, although sometimes terrifying, are not actually hurting you and they're not causing any damage or signifying any damage. And these activities that you've been avoiding, you also need to slowly expand activity while slowly and gently showing your brain and your nervous system that these things in the world and your environment are safe as well. The fourth thing is that if you remove fear around symptoms and activity and your environment, and the symptoms still persist, maybe they get better, but they don't fully go away, or they ease up and then they come back, then almost always there is some deeper work that you're going to need to do. It's going to be either looking at your emotions. Maybe it is that emotional reservoir. Maybe it is repressed anger, rage, shame. Perhaps it is relationships, a life that is not aligned with how you want to be living. And it doesn't necessarily have to be big, massive changes. For most people, the vast majority of people, it is not. For some people, it is. But for the rest of us, it's just making tweaks to your environment, to your relationships, building boundaries, starting to journal, getting your feelings out, and just generally giving all of it space and starting to shift your relationship with it. And the last one is that all of this, if we boil it all down to what this means for people facing chronic symptoms who obviously want to feel better, it's all about making your head a nice place to be. We're trying to, we're aiming to make your brain and your nervous system be in a calm state, not think that there's anything wrong, not think that they need to alert us to anything, because that's what symptoms are. They are alarm bells getting our attention. Something's wrong. Deal with it. And for that not to be happening, our head has to be a happy place. And the biggest thing by far that I'm hearing from the experts and that I'm seeing in the recovery interviews that I do time and time again is that a focus on shifting towards joy is what moves the needle the most. You are not stopping to smile at a flower while you're being chased by a bear. When you're doing things that make you happy, bring you some joy, it's the strongest signal you can send to your brain and nervous system that everything is okay. And if you're in the thick of suffering and joy feels like too much of a stretch, just try and move that needle a little bit. Like, how can I feel a little bit of peace in the next few minutes? How can I feel a little bit safer in my body, a little bit more content? And then slowly start moving that closer and closer towards more joyful activities. And that really, although sounding incredibly simple and like it couldn't possibly be the answer to what you're going through, these serious symptoms that you're facing. But happiness, you being happy in your life, in your skin, is the prescription for healing. Seeing this whole zoom out big picture is the reason that I created my recovery program, Brain Retraining 101. I did initially think, like, do we need another program out there? We have a lot of excellent programs out there. And the reason I did this one was two reasons. One is because I do have this unique viewpoint of what the experts and what the patients, the clients are finding works the best. So I created it not with a narrow focus, like it is this, you must use this one tool. It could be these things. And here are some science backed tools that we know are helping people. And then you choose what works for you. And then the second is you need to go through a program with someone who resonates for you, someone who doesn't annoy you, someone who doesn't bore you. So if you're watching my channel, I thought, well, there are people that probably have decided that I'm not so annoying that you're still here watching videos. So perhaps my approach and the way I come at things is something that feels like a good fit for you. So, if you are interested in learning more, there's a link in the video description. We have hundreds of people that have gone through the program already. We have amazing group calls every week, myself and other incredible coaches. So, if you do decide to sign up, I look forward to meeting you in one of the calls. And whatever you do, though, keep going. Don't give up. Find something that fits for you, and you will get past this. Thanks for watching. And if you do decide to join Brain Retraining 101, my recovery program, I look forward to meeting you in one of our group calls.